fellas, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to make an anvil and we're going to try it out by blacksmithing for the first time. I am very excited, I hope you are too, so let's jump right in. The anvil itself is going to be a giant piece of steel I found on the scrapyard for about €2. And the stand is going to be made of some rough wood we had lying around. I started off by cutting a bunch of planks to a length of 80 centimeters. This is knuckle height for me, which is recommended for anvils. The planks were a bit too wide, so I trimmed down the edges so it fit under the piece of metal. I did this because I wanted to be able to use the sides of the anvil as well. I wanted it to have a proper foot for extra weight and extra stability. I cut some more pieces of wood for that. Then it was time for drilling some holes to keep it all together. First of all, I drilled through the middle of a foot piece. I used that as a template for the next plank, making sure to keep the planks flush to the wall for a flat bottom. I spaced out 2 more holes across the length and drilled them as well. I used these pieces of wood as a template for the rest of the planks. By always lining up the planks with the wall, the holes would be in perfect place in all of the planks. Before putting them together, I gave them a rough hand sand just to get rid of some splinters between the planks. I also gave it some handles to make it somewhat portable. Then using a long piece of thread and some nuts, I squeezed the whole thing together to make one solid stand.
The first hole was easy, but I had to use a hammer for the last 2 holes. When it was all together, it was time to finish the foot by adding some planks to the side.
Oh yeah.
I just screwed these planks in place, as that would be plenty sturdy. I managed to keep the anvil completely flush with the ground, and it was very stable. Although the top wasn't completely flat, so I used an electrical plane for the rough job. Unfortunately, it was a bit too rough. After some more damage, I decided to do everything with the belt sander, which took a little bit longer, but it worked out fine. To attach the anvil to the stand, I cut some metal brackets that would hold it in place. I drilled a hole in each piece which would hold a screw. I clamped up the wooden base as best as I could and lined the brackets up for welding. After welding on the brackets, I drilled some holes and screwed the anvil to the stand. That leaves us with a finished anvil. It turned out great, and it was finally time to start blacksmithing. I first tried heating up a piece of rebar, but it took ages and I hammered on it while it wasn't glowing at all. Then I put in another thinner piece of metal with the hope that that might work. This piece also didn't really heat up and I hammered on it, non-glowing a few times. was mostly just waiting, because it didn't really get glowing. Then, after I moved about a centimeter of material, I threw some wood in the forge, which heated up much more. And I finally got it glowing hot. Which you can clearly see by the amount of metal I'm moving right now. Yeah, don't mind my dad taking pictures and whatnot. And this is the piece of steel after 3 hours of trying to blacksmith.
So, that wraps up today's video. Now, in my last video where I built a forge, I already told you guys that the forge needed to be upgraded. So once again, I want to ask you guys whether you know anything about forges or blacksmithing, because I certainly don't. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching once again. If you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.